The planet Velrin was a world of glass and silence. Its surface shimmered like black ice under twin suns, and its inhabitants, the Vreen, were as emotionless as the terrain. They had long purged what they considered their primitive defects: love, empathy, laughter, kindness. They lived by logic, their empire expanding across half the Orion Arm through cold efficiency. When the Terrans came, the Vreen observed them like one might study an insect that had accidentally landed on a starship window. Humanity was chaotic, unpredictable, yet annoyingly persistent. The Council of Reason called them a biological curiosity destined for self-destruction. But the humans didn't destroy themselves. They flourished. And so, when the Vreen flagship Kothara was dispatched to negotiate resource treaties with Earth, Envoy Sarisval volunteered to observe these strange warm-blooded beings up close. Saris was the youngest xenologist in Vreen history. Her skin a luminous pale silver, her eyes completely black. Like all Vreen, she wore a neural collar that suppressed unnecessary emotions. She believed feelings were relics of a savage age, distortions that led to weakness and ruin. The humans, she thought, were proof of that. The first time she met a human, she was disappointed. The Terran ambassador's aide, a man named Eli Warren, extended a hand toward her in greeting, smiling with that strange human warmth. "Envoy Sarisval, right? It's an honor to meet you, Eli. Welcome aboard the ISS Magellan." She studied his hand, then looked up sharply. "You wish to touch?" "It's a handshake," he explained a little awkwardly. "A custom. It means respect and equality." She hesitated, then took his hand. His skin was warm, too warm, and alive in a way that unsettled her. Her neural collar pulsed faintly, damping the strange flicker in her chest. "Curious," she murmured. "You transmit respect through physical contact. Inefficient but memorable." Eli grinned. "We humans like to make things personal." And from that moment, their worlds began to collide. Middle, a connection beyond logic. Over the following weeks, Saris accompanied Eli through human environments, observing everything. She watched them laugh, argue, cry, embrace. She saw children run toward their parents, soldiers salute, friends share food. All of it seemed illogical, wasteful use of energy for no measurable gain. Yet, it stirred something. One evening, as the suns of Velrin dipped below the horizon and the human ship orbited in tranquil silence, Eli brought her to the Magellan's observation deck. The view stretched endlessly, stars like scattered diamonds across a sea of darkness. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Eli said softly. Saris tilted her head. "Beauty is subjective. To you, perhaps. To me, it is data." He chuckled. "Maybe. But data doesn't make your heart skip, does it?" She frowned. "My heart rate is constant. Regulated." "Right," he said, smiling sadly. "Guess that's the difference between us." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small, smooth object, a tiny carved wooden bird. The grain of the wood shimmered under the deck lights. "What is this?" she asked. "It's a gift," Eli said. "Handmade. My father taught me how to carve when I was a kid. Humans give gifts to show appreciation. Or friendship." Sarah's fingers brushed over the tiny carving. "Its value is negligible." He nodded. "Yeah, it's not about value. It's about meaning." Her collar flickered again, a faint static pulse in her nerves. "Meaning," she repeated softly, as if the word itself were alien. Eli smiled. "It's a piece of humanity. I thought maybe you'd like to have one." Sarah stared at the bird for a long time, saying nothing. In her culture, possessions meant utility. A thing without purpose was a waste. Yet this object, fragile, imperfect, stirred something she didn't understand. She took it. "I will analyze it," she said stiffly. Eli only smiled. "You do that." Over the next few nights, Saris couldn't stop looking at the little wooden bird. It sat on her desk as she reviewed data, its carved wings catching the faint light. Every time she looked at it, her chest ached in a way she couldn't quantify. When the High Council transmitted new orders to conclude negotiations and prepare for withdrawal, Saris hesitated. She wanted to understand why humans did what they did. Why they smiled when they hurt. Why they gave when nothing was owed. Her neural collar began malfunctioning. She felt warmth. She felt confusion. She even, though she'd never admit it, felt lonely when Eli wasn't around. Then came the attack. The attack, sacrifice and awakening. A rogue faction of Vreen extremists, those who believed humans were a threat to galactic order, launched a strike on the Magellan. The human crew scrambled to defend, but their defenses were nothing against Vreen stealth ships. Saris watched in horror as explosions rocked the corridors. She'd never seen such chaos, such blood, such unfiltered fear. "Saris!" Eli shouted through the smoke. "We have to get to the escape pods." She hesitated. The attackers were Vreen, her own people. If she sided with the humans, she'd be branded a traitor. Then she saw a wounded child, a human girl, lying in the hall, crying for help. Eli rushed to her, shielding her with his body as debris fell. Saris' neural collar sparked violently. Something inside her snapped. Logic screamed, "Leave them. Save yourself." But another voice, something ancient, buried deep, whispered, "Help them." Without thinking, she tore off her collar. Pain flooded her, but so did something else. Color. Emotion. The entire universe rushed in. She leaped forward, using her advanced Vreen physiology to lift the beam trapping the child. Eli looked up at her in shock. "Saris, your collar." "Later," she gasped. "Move." Together they carried the girl to the escape pods. Explosions followed, the hull tearing apart. Saris used her knowledge of Vreen attack patterns to guide them to safety, saving dozens of humans in the process. When the survivors finally crash-landed on a nearby moon, the Magellan was gone. Eli sat beside the wreckage, bloodied but alive. Saris approached him slowly, her hair singed, eyes glowing faintly with emotion now unrestrained. He smiled weakly. "Guess we made it." She nodded, clutching the wooden bird tightly in her palm. "This symbol you gave me," she whispered. "I understand it now." "What do you mean?" "It represents connection," she said softly. "Compassion. Something no algorithm could create. It is meaning." Eli's breath hitched. "You feel it." Tears, actual tears, welled in her dark eyes. "Yes, and it terrifies me." Ending, the gift that changed a species. Rescue came days later, not from the humans, but from the Vreen fleet sent to retrieve their lost envoy. When they found Saris alive among humans, holding a child and speaking with emotion in her voice, they were horrified. "You have been corrupted," the Vreen commander hissed. "You will be reconditioned." But Saris stood tall. "No, you are the ones corrupted, by fear of what makes us alive." The humans tried to intervene, but Saris raised a hand. "Let me speak to them." Eli shook his head. "They'll kill you. Then I will die, as something more than what I was." She stepped forward and addressed the Vreen fleet through open comms. "For eons we believed logic was perfection. But logic without empathy is emptiness. These humans, you call them chaotic, flawed, yet they possess what we lost. They create meaning from nothing. There was silence across the fleet. Then, to everyone's shock, some of the younger Vreen officers removed their collars. One by one. The command ship ordered her execution. But before they could fire, the humans intervened. Not with weapons, but with a transmission. Ambassador Holt's voice filled the comms. If you harm her, you declare war on every human alive. But if you listen, you might rediscover what it means to live. For the first time in millennia, the Vreen hesitated. Weeks later, the Velrin Accords were signed. The Vreen didn't surrender. They evolved. They began to study emotion again, carefully, cautiously. They even allowed select humans to visit their homeworld to teach empathy, art, and kindness. And Saris, she was no longer an envoy. She was a bridge between two worlds, the first Vreen ambassador to Earth. On her desk, in her new quarters overlooking the Pacific Ocean, sat the same small wooden bird. Its surface was scorched and cracked, but it remained intact, a reminder of what began it all. When Eli visited her years later, he smiled at the sight of it. Still keeping that old thing, huh? Saris turned, her eyes now brighter, softer. It started a revolution, she said simply. I would not discard history. He laughed. Guess I'll have to make you another one. She tilted her head with that same curious gesture he'd first seen years ago. You humans. You never stop giving. He grinned. That's kind of our thing. Saris looked out at the horizon, at the humans walking, laughing, embracing below. Her voice was quiet, full of wonder. And because of that, she whispered, you changed an entire species forever.